Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy that people continue to support our channel, and I'm really happy that more and more people continue to subscribe to the channel. I'm really humbled. If you're watching for the first time, kindly hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell, and like our videos. I'm one person who has really treated with suspicion the impending talks between Raila Odinga and William Samoei Ruto, especially this bipartisan ad hoc committee that is supposed to be formed in the parliament to look into the IEBC formation. And I realized that I'm not the only one. And for the first time, I'm happy that what I feel is the same reflection from those who surround Raila Odinga. Because many had viewed this kind of formation as a waste of time, because William Ruto is really a shrewd politician, and many people feel that he just wants to waste time. But turns out that Raila Odinga is also watching very keenly because he understands who William Ruto is. Barely before dust settles after Raila called those demonstrations, the minority leader Opiyo Wandayi, who is a very close ally to the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, was on Citizen TV to highlight a few things concerning this impending talks. Some people call it handshake, but it's not, because both sides, Raila Odinga side and William Ruto side, have ruled out any possibility of a handshake. And I'm about to show you that video, but just basically, Opiyo Wandayi is saying that all the demands that Raila Odinga had mentioned will be included in that ad hoc committee. Now, this goes against the belief from the Ruto side, who tends to believe that the only thing that they are going to discuss is the issue of the IEBC. Let us listen to the Raila demands and then the reaction from Wandayi, because it's going to form the basis of our analysis.
And those issues are not new, if you have been keen enough. We have raised those issues time and again.
Right.
In fact, some of them are part of the 4 issues that we had, 4 conditions that we had given, that need to have been met before you could do call off the mass action. You know, your continued reference to the president has said this, as president has, is neither here nor there. What Honorable Ruto did was to give suggestions on behalf of his Kenya Kwanza coalition. And my party leader, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, gave counter proposals. There was no hard rule that this counter proposal should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. No. He just actually repeated the same conditions, issues that we have been raising from the very beginning. And therefore, those proposals and counter proposals must naturally therefore form the basis for engagement before the main talks. I want to repeat this. There's no way you can just get into a so-called bipartisan committee in Parliament without agreeing on the rules of the game. It can never happen. It will never happen. Yeah, and you know we have got...
You don't think Parliament is, allow me to use this word, competent enough to deal with all those issues?
Parliament is one of the problems that we have highlighted over and again. My party leader has just spoken to the fact that in Parliament, MPs have been bought. And therefore, as we speak, Kenya Kwanza is enjoying artificial majority. So before you address the issue of that artificial majority and how it can come into play with respect to how to implement the recommendations of the committee, then you're not doing anything. So we are not children, and neither are we fools, to get into something we are not clear about or not sure about. So we support the bipartisan approach. we are committed to the idea of a bipartisan committee in Parliament, but we want to agree on the preliminary issues beforehand.
You realize that Raila Odinga is talking about opening of the server, the high cost of living, IEBC, and buying of their leaders. I will tell you here very humbly that these talks are going to stall. They are not going to mature. They are not going to materialize in any way. And this is the reason, ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me or disagree, but this is the reason why I believe that these talks will not mature to anything. Number one, Opiyo and I believes that they must have some talks, what you call some talks before the main talks. Yesterday, William Samoei Ruto met the KK Parliamentary group, the leadership of the Kenya Kwanza team, and they kind of charted the way forward on what they want to put on the table, because there was a proposal from William Samoei Ruto, that is what Wandai says, and there is a counter proposal from Raila Odinga. Now, Opiyo and I is saying that they must have some debate, some committee, some meeting before they end up in Parliament to look into the rules of engagement, because according to William Ruto, he believes that people are going to Parliament and they are going to say, let us form this committee that is going to look into ways on how to appoint the IEBC commissioners. To them, that is what they think. But Raila's side seems to be reading from a different page. And the P1I seems to be telling them that we must have an outside talks where we're going to have the rules of engagement. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is where the first stalemate and impasse is going to start. Because the Raila side will tell them, we want to include all of these things, the cost of living, the server, buying of our supporters. The Ruto side will insist that no, we are going to discuss matters pertaining to the IEBC. The other thing that is going to ensure that this thing is dead on arrival, the majority side, the Ruto side, has always maintained, and even because in that debate, Opiyo and I was debating with Osoro. It's a long debate, so I didn't include what Osoro was saying. But Osoro is saying that it is the sole prerogative of the judiciary to give the green light to opening of the server. And to them, Raila is making crazy demands that cannot be met, opening the server. Well, Raila Odinga's side, if you listen to Opiyo and I, believes that they are going to discuss opening the server, and if they want parliamentary amendment, then Parliament is going to amend so that we allow opening of the server. So already you can see two sides taking two sides. They are taking already hardline stances. That is another thing that is going to create animosity between them. Number three, when Raila complains that William Ruto is buying his supporters, Osoro is saying that you cannot compel a member of parliament to support you by force. In fact, he was saying that there are people who do not want to go to the streets carrying sufurias, and so they should be allowed to support any divide of any side of the political affiliation. But Raila Odinga has made it very clear that if William Ruto is serious that he wants a strong opposition, he must stop forthwith interfering, buying and compromising his supporters. In fact, Raila has always said that those who seem to have compromised their position and have switched allegiance to William Samoei Ruto should go and seek a fresh mandate from the people. Take, for example, somebody like Jalanga. Do you think he can go back to Langata and tell his people that, you know, I have switched to UDA, so I want to seek fresh mandate, kindly elect me on a UDA ticket? Some of these people rode on ODM tickets. Some people were elected because of Raila Odinga. Some people were just elected because of the ODM Azimio. And so for them to negate the very ladder that plunged them into those positions is unacceptable according to Raila Odinga. But William Ruto's side feels that you cannot force people to support. In fact, William Ruto is on record as saying that you cannot head a party on intimidations and threats. So this is another basis that is going to ensure that these things are going to collapse. Let me tell you, Raila understands very well that he represents the people. And if you listen to what people are saying, people are only looking for one thing. We have a server. Recently, Raila Odinga released a whistleblower's leak that has got 8 million plus. William Ruto has got 5 million. And people feel that if Raila Odinga squanders this chance, if he wastes this golden opportunity, then we can as well forget their support. Because we cannot be doing the same thing and expecting a different result. In 2007, in 2013, in 2017, and now 2022. And I remember Raila Odinga himself said that this time round, it must work for Kenya so that it can work for Africa. Raila said that he has realized that people emulate what is happening in Kenya. When we had blatant thievery of votes, electoral malpractice, and then the USA forced a handshake between Raila Odinga and Mwai Kibaki in the famous coalition government. Later it became the norm. It became the blueprint in Africa. Morgan Tsvangirai and the late President Robert Mugabe had an altercation when Mugabe kind of robbed his votes, and Raila was called to go and tell them how they can share power. It has been the norm in Africa. And Raila says that this must stop and we must take a paradigm shift where things are not done as usual. And I think Raila Odinga knows what he's doing. It seems to me that Raila was under pressure from the USA, from the business community, farmers, teachers are complaining, parents are complaining that children cannot go to school. So what he did was very simple. He suspended the demonstrations just to show Kenyans that I love peace. It is the Ruto side that does not want peace, because some of these demands will be a thorn in the flesh in this government. They are not going to allow it. And don't be surprised that next week people go back to the streets, because the Pandora's box, the elephant in the room is this server. So they are saying they don't want to talk about the cost of living because they believe they want to subsidize fertilizer. They're saying they can't open the server because it is the prerogative of the judiciary. I mean, it's not possible. And even on the formation of they are going to set up rules on how to form this committee. They are going to have the longest debate that you will ever. They are not going to agree. So, ladies and gentlemen, Raila sent Opio and I, and that is the position of Raila, and you know the position of William Ruto. I'm here to submit to you that these talks are dead on arrival.